The evening sun painted the small town golden as Isabella walked home from the little bakery where she worked. She was 23, full of dreams, and known by everyone in her neighborhood for her warm smile. Life had never been easy for her. She had grown up with her mother after her father left them when she was still a child. Yet Isabella believed that life always had something beautiful waiting for those who kept faith. Her mother often told her, "My daughter, love is the sweetest gift in this world. But choose wisely, because the same love can also bring pain." Isabella would smile and nod, never really thinking too much about those words. She believed her own story would be different. She believed her love would last forever. One Friday evening, as Isabella was closing the bakery, a young man entered. He was tall, neatly dressed, and had kind eyes that seemed to notice her right away. His name was Daniel. He had just returned from the city where he had been working. "Can I have 2 loaves of bread?" he asked with a smile that made Isabella's heart beat faster. That small meeting was the beginning of something that soon grew into more. Daniel started visiting the bakery often, not always to buy bread, but to talk to Isabella. He asked about her life, her dreams, and her struggles. Unlike others, he listened carefully, and Isabella felt seen in a way she had never felt before. Soon their friendship turned into late evening walks. They would stroll under the stars, laughing and sharing stories about the future. Isabella told him how she wished to one day own her own bakery. Daniel promised, "One day, Isabella, I will make sure your dream comes true." His words sank deep into her heart. Weeks turned into months, and the bond between them grew stronger. Daniel introduced her to his friends, and even to his family, who welcomed her with open arms. For Isabella, it felt like a fairy tale. She would lie awake at night, thinking, maybe this is the love my mother always talked about. Maybe this is the man who will never hurt me. On Isabella's birthday, Daniel surprised her with a simple but beautiful gift, a necklace with a small heart pendant. "This heart," he said softly as he placed it around her neck, "is a symbol of my promise. I will love you, protect you, and never let you go." Tears filled Isabella's eyes, and she hugged him tightly. In that moment, she believed nothing could ever come between them. Life began to shine brighter for Isabella. Even at the bakery, her co-workers noticed how her face glowed whenever Daniel's name was mentioned. She worked harder, dreamed bigger, and felt safer knowing someone loved her deeply. To her, the future looked certain, and happiness seemed unending. Her mother, though happy for her daughter, still reminded her gently, "My child, love is sweet, but don't forget what I told you." Isabella would laugh lightly and say, "Mama, Daniel is different. He is not like other men. You will see." She couldn't have known then that the very love that lifted her so high would one day break her into pieces. The sweet beginning of Isabella's story had started, but hidden in the shadows of tomorrow was a truth that would change everything. The days with Daniel continued to feel like a dream for Isabella. But slowly, without warning, tiny cracks began to appear in their perfect picture of love. First, it was little things. Daniel stopped visiting the bakery as often as he used to. He would call Isabella late at night and tell her he was too tired to come by. She believed him, thinking he was working harder than before. But her heart sometimes whispered doubts she didn't want to listen to. One evening, as they sat at their favorite spot under the old oak tree, Isabella noticed Daniel was quieter than usual. His eyes seemed far away, as if his thoughts were locked somewhere she could not reach. She touched his hand and asked softly, "Daniel, is something wrong?" He forced a smile and shook his head. "No, Bella. I'm just tired. Work is demanding." But Isabella knew there was more. For the first time, she felt like he was hiding a piece of himself from her. Soon, strange rumors began to reach her ears. Friends whispered that Daniel was often seen with another girl in town. Isabella brushed it off, telling herself people were only jealous of their love. "They don't know Daniel like I do," she told her mother. But inside, a storm was slowly brewing. Her heart ached more when Daniel began canceling their evening walks. Sometimes he would not return her calls until the next day. When she asked, he always had a reason, work, family matters, or even sickness. Isabella wanted to believe him, but the doubt grew like a shadow that followed her everywhere. One Sunday afternoon, Isabella decided to surprise Daniel at his workplace. She carried a basket of food she had cooked, hoping to brighten his day. But when she arrived, she didn't find Daniel at work. His colleague hesitated before saying, "Oh, Daniel left earlier with a friend." The way the man paused made Isabella's heart race. Her hands shook as she walked home. That night she couldn't eat. She stared at the necklace Daniel had given her, the little heart that once brought so much joy. Now it felt heavier than ever. The following week, Isabella confronted Daniel. "I went to your work but you weren't there," she said, her voice trembling. "People say you're spending time with another girl. Is it true?" Daniel's face hardened. "Bella, why are you listening to gossip? Don't you trust me?" His tone was sharp, unlike the gentle Daniel she had always known. "I trust you," she whispered, tears in her eyes. "But I also feel like you're slipping away from me." Instead of holding her close, Daniel simply sighed. "I don't have time for this. I told you I'm busy. Stop overthinking." He walked away, leaving Isabella standing alone with her heart in pieces. Her mother noticed the sadness in her daughter's eyes. One evening she sat beside Isabella and said, "My child, you look tired. You no longer smile the way you used to. Love should lift you, not break you down. Are you sure this man is giving you what you deserve?" Isabella tried to be strong. "Mama, I love him. Maybe I just need to be patient." But in her heart, she knew something was wrong. The cracks in Isabella's love story were becoming wider, and no matter how hard she tried to hold everything together, she could feel the pieces slipping away. What she didn't know was that the truth behind Daniel's distance would soon be revealed, and it would shatter her world forever. The silence between Isabella and Daniel grew heavier with each passing day. Where once there was laughter and warmth, now there were excuses and unanswered questions. Isabella held on, praying it was only a passing storm, but deep inside, she feared her mother's warning was about to come true. One evening, unable to bear the weight of doubt any longer, Isabella decided to follow Daniel. He had told her he was going to work late, but something in his voice felt untrue. With her heart pounding, she trailed behind him at a distance. Her feet trembled as she watched him walk into a small cafe on the other side of town. Through the glass window, she saw him smile, a smile she once believed belonged only to her. Sitting across from him was another woman. They leaned close, whispering, laughing, their hands touching in ways that tore Isabella's heart apart. Tears blurred her eyes as she stepped back, her chest tightening as if the world had collapsed around her. For a moment, she wanted to run inside and scream, but her body refused to move. She could only stand there, frozen, watching the love of her life give to another what he had once promised her. That night, Isabella walked home under the dark sky, her heart heavy and her soul broken. When she reached her room, she tore off the necklace Daniel had given her. The little silver heart hit the floor with a sharp sound, echoing the pain inside her. She wept until her body shook, asking herself, "Why? What did I do to deserve this?" The next day, Daniel came to see her as if nothing had happened. But Isabella's eyes no longer carried the same trust. She looked at him and said quietly, "I saw you, Daniel. I saw everything." His face changed, guilt flashing across it, but instead of apologizing, he said coldly, "Bella, maybe we're not meant to be. Things change." Those words cut deeper than any knife. After all the promises, after all the dreams, this was how he chose to end it. Isabella felt her knees weaken, but she forced herself to stand tall. With tears streaming down her cheeks, she replied, "Daniel, love should not be built on lies. You broke my heart, but you will not break me." She turned away from him, and for the first time she chose herself. The days that followed were not easy. Isabella cried in silence, her chest aching whenever she remembered the moments they had shared. But little by little, she began to heal. She threw herself into her work at the bakery, and her mother's comforting words reminded her that life was not over. One morning, as she baked bread, she realized something important. Daniel had betrayed her love, but he could not steal her strength. She was still Isabella, kind, hardworking, and full of dreams. The pain of betrayal would always be part of her story, but it would not define her. Instead, it gave her a new courage to rise again. Standing outside her little bakery, watching the sunrise, Isabella whispered to herself, "Love betrayed me, but life has not. I will keep moving forward. One day, I will find a love that is true." And with that, her broken heart began to mend. The cracks of betrayal remained, but through them a new light began to shine, the light of hope.